I think I'm just going to fuck off with all the new adjustments that I'm trying to make this close to a competition. That is easily 2,000 calories.
Good morning everyone, and welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. So what am I going to record today? Probably some training, certainly some nutrition. The last week or 10 days or so hasn't been the best from a training standpoint because I've barely gotten into the gym because I had to collect this one from Dublin Airport last weekend, and we had to go and spend a lovely 2 nights in the Dean Hotel in Cork, resting and recovering. This morning's agenda is to drop this one, my lovely Mrs. Abby, off to the airport. Do you want to tell them what you're doing today, Abby?
I'm going for a Gymshark athlete content day.
So if you haven't been keeping up with the latest news on Instagram, Abby here has recently been unveiled as a Gymshark athlete. And in case you're wondering, you know, this being Sean's vlog, Sean, why aren't you going to the athlete day? It's because Sean here hasn't ascended the ranks to being an athlete just yet. So to help me fight this injustice and ensure that the next time there is a Gymshark athlete day that I too will be departing at the airport, make sure that you use code Sean at the checkout and certainly not code Abby. That is Abby dropped off. The good news is that I have to pick her up later on. Well, could be considered as good or bad, whatever way you look at it, but I have to pick her up later on at 9:30 because she's getting the 20-hour flight out of Stansted in the morning to Stansted, and then she's getting the flight back in the evening time. So we haven't seen the last of Abby. Could I get a cold brew with caramel syrup, please? Sugar-free caramel syrup. Thank you. So just in case you're wondering what my Starbucks order is, no one has ever asked me this question before. It's not a pumpkin spice latte, although they are delicious. It is, in fact, a large cold brew. Reason being is I don't actually know the caffeine content of it, but because it just tastes like pure, dark, unfiltered coffee, it at least gives me the impression that it hits like rocket fuel. So I can't remember who got me on them, but it's been one of the best influences I've ever had in my life. Last night, I had possibly one of the worst nights of sleep that I've had in a very, very long time. And some may say that it's got to do with my excessive caffeine habit, but to that I vehemently disagree. If anything, caffeine is the only thing that gets me through the day. But it was just one of those things where I woke up in a hot sweat at 2 o'clock in the morning with 1,000,001 things on my mind. I had to leave the bed that I was in with Abby and go sleep in the spare room. So when she woke up in the morning, she got a bit of a fright. She didn't know whether I'd been killed or I broke up with her. Funnily enough, I started thinking about my 180 kilo failed bench press 10 days ago or so when I woke up, and that was one of the reasons why I couldn't get back to sleep. It's something that I am genuinely tormented by every single day. My session today is going to include bench press, so I'll get a better idea of where I'm at, but I really want to nail this 180 kilo bench press in the competition at the end of June, and I guess I'm a little bit nervous about how it's potentially going to go down, but I'm not going to let any doubt seed into my mind, because doubt is the first step towards failure. Other things alongside that as well is the fact that it would fulfill a childhood dream of mine to become one day a Gymshark athlete. And at the moment I'm an ambassador, which is obviously very cool. I get a small salary from Gymshark and I get the free clothes every month. But in terms of an athlete, as Abby has managed to ascend to, because her sales with Define were absolutely phenomenal, so Gymshark were trying for a very, very long time to get her on their team. In terms of being an athlete, it's very much a protected term at Gymshark. It's more so you're a permanent fixture within the Gymshark roster. You'd be more involved with events, with the general promotion of the company and things like that. What I'm on is very much could be considered, let's say, a trial period. So with your help, I'm sure if you're picking up something nice with Gymshark, make sure to use code Sean, and maybe one day that childhood dream will be fulfilled. But there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes as well. At the moment, I'm on a mentorship program to improve the delivery of my coaching businesses. So right now is a very, very busy period of time for me. I barely get a chance to simply just switch off and think. That's what was nice about the weekend away to Cork. But look, we'll get through it. It's all part and parcel of working for yourself. When you do content sort of full time, it can be very, very full on, especially when it's YouTube, it's Instagram, and it's TikTok. But that's what I signed up for. That's what I've been doing for the last 6 years. I do enjoy every single minute of it. I enjoy, at the weekend, there was a couple of people who said that they watched YouTubes, and I would consider the viewership to be relatively low. So it surprises the fuck out of me when someone comes up and says that they're refreshing my channel waiting for a new YouTube to upload. To all of you who are watching this, thank you very, very much. It absolutely means the world to think that some people are sitting down and watching me ramble on for 10 minutes. I also call the Instagram multiple photos a carousel. Abby's like, what are you talking about posting a carousel? It's a carousel. She goes, do you mean a carousel?
Oh god, I needed that. That's the first time I laughed this week.
Meal number 1 is some oats with grapes, blueberries, and strawberries. And I'm eating it in the office, not because like I'm absolutely snowed under with work, although I am. It's actually because I'm deathly afraid of vlogging in front of my family. It's funny, I'm actually more embarrassed to vlog in front of my family than I am. But actually it makes sense when you say it out loud. Complete strangers outside.
When will you learn? You thought I was done with my caffeine intake for today, but here's another 250 milligrams.
You're joking. Not another one?
So to give you all a bit of an insight as to where I'm at in my program, last week finished up the 6-week block that Shane, my coach, originally wrote for me. And so leading into the competition, because it's pretty much give or take about 4 weeks away, Shane has written me what's called a powerlifting peak to ensure that I come in to the competition as fresh and as strong as possible, and I'm able to express as much of the strength that I have as I possibly can. So today we are on day 2 of week number 1. My first exercise on the menu is a competition standard bench press. And the first set is to be done at an RPE 8, which basically means that in terms of difficulty, I would rate that set, that one repetition, as an 8 out of 10, that I'd have give or take 2 repetitions left if I really wanted to. So that weight is going to be subjective, it's going to depend on how I feel today. So I'll work up potentially 100 kg, 140 kg, 160 kg. I'll rate how 160 kg feels, whether or not it's about an RPE 8 or whether or not I could do 2 more repetitions. And if that is the case, then I'll move to a back off, which is basically just sets at a lighter weight, 4 sets of 5 repetitions at 85% of whatever my top set ends up being today. So for today's session, there's 2 main things that I want to experiment with. Number 1 is using a slightly wider grip. When moving, especially this close to competition, working with the weights that I'll be using, to something like a wider grip than you're accustomed to doing, it's important that you take it in very, very small increments. So I'm talking literally the width of one index finger, a little bit wider, so that when it comes to that locking out portion of the lift, that I'm not depending so much on my triceps to have the strength to finish the bench press off. When I look back on old lifting videos, somewhere along the line my grip went a little bit narrower, because when I look back on old sets of doing 170 kilos for 3 repetitions, even previous attempts of 180, my grip was certainly a little bit wider than what I've been doing over the last year or 2. And so I want to experiment whether or not that gives me an extra element of strength that could translate into the extra 5 kilos that I need to bench press 180 kilos paused at the end of next month. So the second thing that I want to experiment with today is going to be my leg drive. So usually when I'm trying to bench press, my foot is directly beneath my knee, which means that every time that I go to bench press, if I'm trying to drive through my feet, I end up sticking my arse up in the air, which is less than ideal for trying to get as much leverage or as much power with the bench press as possible. So it might look something like this. But a tip that I got from TJ Pain Free, so he's the physio that I'm seeing at the moment for my back injury, was to bring my feet a little bit further away from my body. So when I start to drive through my legs, my arse isn't popping directly up towards the ceiling, but rather it's pushing my entire upper body a little bit up the bench. So when you're trying to leg drive, it shouldn't be your arse to the ceiling. It should be leg drive that's pushing your body up the bench as opposed to off the bench. I think it's pretty clear to see that from that last rep, I didn't even do it properly. I didn't do the leg drive properly. So my feet were still a little bit too close to my body, which was sending my arse up towards the ceiling. So we've moved up to 140. I'm going to experiment with scooting my feet objectively further away than they were in the last set and see if it makes any difference. I can only hope that you can see what I'm trying to do. My execution of it isn't the best. One tip that I got from probably one of the best powerlifting coaches in Ireland, Alex Cremens, I think he was the Irish head powerlifting coach, I may be wrong on that, so don't quote me, but was to ensure that the tension is placed throughout your feet from as soon as you unrack the bar. I don't know if this is a great way of describing it, but your feet are being sucked or stuck to the ground as soon as you unrack the bar, so that you're not implementing tension after you unrack the bar, if that makes sense. I'm not an expert in it, I'm trying my best. I don't think any of the repetitions I've done it properly, but I'm getting there. Like anything, it's muscle memory. These things are a skill, so if you treat them as such, eventually one day it'll click and you get the hang of it. Just hopefully for me, it clicks within the next 4 weeks. Right, we have our wrist straps on. We have 160 on the bar. I'm feeling a speed rep on this one. This is going to be no more than RPE 7. That wasn't an RPE 7. I did not, in fact, have give or take 3 more repetitions in the tank. That felt slow. The fact that I'm experimenting with a leg drive technique I haven't really used all that often before, I think I actually somehow managed to use less lower body than I've done for any bench press. So the back off sets start now. So I've got 4 sets of 137.5 kilos loaded onto the bar. I'm not going to get too down in the dumps about the speed of my top set. I would have hoped for it to be higher, but c'est la vie, what can I do? I can only focus on making the back off sets as productive as I possibly can. As a wise man once said, strength is not built in the singles, strength is built in the back offs. Plus, I'm not going to overthink my technique anymore. That leg drive just felt terrible. So until I'm under the supervision of someone who actually knows what I should be doing, I'm just going to resort back to everything that I was doing in the first place. That was productive as fuck. I felt like I was throwing it back better. Suspicious choice of words. I know it's the nature of back off sets in general that they're meant to feel a lot easier having done a heavy top single, but there was something different about that second set. It just slapped. It felt more powerful, a lot more confidence than I had when I did the first set. So let's see if we can maintain that for the third one. So I'm having a bit of a self-inflicted realization, and it reminds me of a video that I did roughly this time last year where I was talking about not overthinking going for new PBs or not overthinking getting past the plateau. I think I'm just going to fuck off with all the new adjustments that I'm trying to make this close to a competition. Granted that I'm going to have to grease the groove with either one of those adjustments, whether it be leg drive, whether it be grip width, for a number of weeks before it becomes something that's second nature to me. I'm just going to do what I do best when it comes to competition day and absolutely send it. And if I fail the lift, I fail the lift, but at least I know that I gave it the best possible shot that I could have. Hence why you probably shouldn't take advice from me while I'm in the moment, in real time, doing a session, because my brain just flips from one extreme to the other. What has worked to get me to this weight will work to get me past this weight. The second exercise today, it's mad that I've been here like over an hour and I'm only on to exercise number 2. Such is the drawback of powerlifting, but pause deadlifts is the second item on the agenda. An exercise I haven't really done all that often. I think I've probably remembered once that I did it, and that was last week. Today's weight is going to be 67.5% of my estimated 1 rep max. I'm going to be generous and say that that's 270 kilos, which means that I'm going to be pause deadlifting for 5 sets of 2 repetitions, 182.5 kilos. Easy. I'm unironically a bit slow, like Homer in that Simpsons episode where they're all playing poker, and then someone calls Homer slow. It takes him until 3 o'clock in the morning in Lenny's kitchen to figure out that someone actually called him slow, and then Lenny goes, "Boy, you are slow."
Slow? They called you slow! How dare you call me that?
Hey, homie, you still here? Boy, you are slow.
That was me, because I was meant to do a pause deadlift to warm up for sets of pause deadlift, and me confidently saying that 170 kilos deadlift for 1 was easy, when in fact it was meant to be 170 kilo pause deadlift. Is this even on the right way?
You are slow.
So I've just taken the biggest L known to man, and that was a fact that I made a very mid joke on the last clip, and the microphone wasn't connected, so I'm gonna have to repeat myself out of complete and utter sheer awkwardness. I was saying I don't know how powerlifters do it. I've been here 2 hours, I've done 8 sets, I've already forgotten what my mother's voice sounds like, I've certainly forgotten what daylight looks like, and that was the joke. If you could input like sitcom laughter, that would be great. let's get this shit done. So last set, I've paused deadlifts. Then I'm going to skip an exercise because I can't be arsed. Then I'm going to do some weighted pull-ups and I'm going to get myself out of this joint. Haven't done a bulk update in a while, a physique update, so I'd like to show you that. Although there hasn't really been that much progression because my body weight has stayed the same. Over the last week, I was almost certainly in a calorie deficit. I was stressed for no apparent reason. And as a result, I just simply forgot that eating was a thing. Boosh! Bash. Now, I have been well informed that this weighted belt could break at any moment, and it's probably less than ideal that I'm in my socks, because if it does break, well then this metal 25 kilo plate is going to go straight through my big toe, and as you can imagine, that would be less than ideal. You'll never guess what happened. I'll give you 1 second to guess what happened. Do you know what's funny? Only the other day did I film an ad for Gillette. It's a pube trimmer, right? I've been someone who was hacked with like a 50-cent razor, disposable razor that I've used 4 times before I dispose of it to shave my pubes. And so there was one of those rogue razors lying in my bag. Stuck my hand into my gear bag to get my car keys and I just felt the cleanest slit of all time. I was like, well, that's my finger fucked. Lo and behold, the guys in City Gym got me wrapped up. Because my mother is currently in Greece, that means, unlike the last vlog, I've no delicious chicken in the bag dinner to come home to. So I'm probably going to have to muster up a boy dinner, and by boy dinner, I mean a bulking shake. Give me a break. So it turns out that my family doesn't own a blender. I nearly forgot that I moved home there for a second. And I'm regretting my decision because I can't even make the most convenient 1700 calories known to man. Actually, I can. We can sit here and complain, or we can see every problem as a potential opportunity. The opportunity that presents itself, I don't know what you call this, a grinder, but it's like, can you make soup with this shit? If you can make soup with it, you can make a bulking shake with it. I'm sure a little bit of porridge, some peanut butter, a banana, some milk will be more than blendable with whatever you call this thing. I do not want to hear a single other excuse if you're struggling to bulk. If you're not going to lengths like these, and you're not gaining weight, and you're not getting stronger, and you're not building muscle, you just don't want it enough.
You don't want it.
Do you believe me now? That is easily 2,000 calories. Probably gonna have me stuck on the toilet for the rest of the night. If it gets me to 180 kilo bench press in 4 weeks, that'll be time well spent. Abby's back from the airport. Everyone say hello to Abby. Hi. That's going to wrap up today's YouTube video. A mixed bag of everything that you have come to associate all too frequently with Sean Fitzness vlogs. Not going to talk anymore. Thank you all for tuning in. Drop the video a like if you haven't done so already. Don't really care about subscribes. I more care that you tune in to the next one. Take care.